Hey, you guys, welcome back. We're going to be talking this week on sessions about creating more time. Who does not need that? I do. Everybody does. We're creating more time. So this is going to be a really powerful conversation about how to manifest the feeling of more time. Obviously, we've got 24 hours in the day, all of us, right? But how do we use it? How do we think about time is what we're going to dive into in this episode. So here we go for the main episode on sessions of creating more time. This is Shauna Lee, and welcome to this week's The Soul Frequency Sessions. Real talk about real life and how to raise your energy frequency. All right, we're talking about creating more time. So super important, you guys. I'll share a little bit of a story about how I started to create time in a different way. I used to really think of time as the old 9-to-5 mindset, right? Like you have to work from 9 to 5, then you kind of spend family time or dinner time, get ready for bed, go to sleep, wake up, do the same thing. And then on weekends, there was more free flow of time, right? Like, oh, we can kind of do what we want and go here and go there. And I might have shared this on a past episode, but I'll share it again. My son, when he was 4, broke his leg. It was really a devastating event in our life. He broke his leg at school. We came to get him. They didn't really realize his leg was broken. They thought he was just hurt. And so he ended up having to get a cast on. And at that time, I wasn't able to work, right? I mean, the regular hours, I needed to be home with my son and taking care of him. And it really made me rethink time. Like if I need to be home during the day taking care of my son, like how am I going to be able to run my business? Which got me thinking in a much more expansive way. And while it was a horrible situation to happen, it had me have to reevaluate time. So since that point in time, over the past couple of years, time has meant something different to me. And I don't think about time anymore in that there's any predetermined set things that need to be done at a certain time. So we really live in a flow state and our schedule changes all the time. But what has freed me up about this is that I'm really able to do things at any point in the day. So sometimes earlier in the day, I take free time, right? The time that used to be designated for after work stuff, right, with family. Sometimes I do it earlier in the day. And then sometimes I work later in the day, right, and into the evening. And so we have adjusted our schedule in so many different ways. And I know if you have a 9-to-5 job, this is a challenging thing and might not be possible. But really, changing your mindset is what starts to create new in your life. And so if the goal is to run your own business at some time or work on a flexible schedule, not work at a 9-to-5 job where you have to go to a physical location every day, there's a lot of opportunities, right? We have a lot of technology, right? Hence I'm coming to you over technology to create life in a different way. And so it all begins with just really starting to understand time in a new way and starting to think, what is possible with my time? So one of the things that you can think about is, and I always suggest that people start with this, like, what is your natural inclination? Are you a morning person? Are you a night person? What is it that you prefer? How do you feel more creative, like at a certain time of day? Do you feel more energized at a certain time of day? We really need to understand our own rhythms. And then we can understand how we want to weave through our day, right? The tasks that we want to get done. Also, I really believe in planning certain things. So while I spend a lot of my day in flow, there are things that I plan, right? And I plan based on what is natural for me. So my natural rhythms about when I like to create, when I don't like to create, I plan. Sometimes I like to work on the weekends. Sometimes I like to work more during the week. It depends. And so I allow the flow in how I'm feeling, but I do plan throughout the day how I want to execute on certain things, if that makes sense. So it's a really, it's a schedule based on feminine flow state and masculine get it done state. And it really weaves very nicely between these two. That feels of resonance to me. This is about you finding what feels of resonance to you and you locating within yourself, what are my rhythms, right? What are my stories around time? Did I grow up in a family where everyone said, there's not enough time to do everything, right? What is the programming that society has told me about time? That I have to do things at a certain time of the day, right? Do I have to eat breakfast at the same time and lunch at the same time and dinner at the same time? Do I like to snack throughout the day at all kinds of different times, right? Do I have to wake up at a certain time and go to bed at a certain time? What feels more resonant to you? It's starting to get outside the bounds of society and really look within and say, what is good and right to me? This is what I call the frequency of unique, which is us at this time on the planet deciding and discovering who we really are and what feels good to us, right? To live life according to your own beat, right? Your own rhythm is so powerful. And that's where you're really going to drop into the frequency of your true creative power. So also thinking about time as time for joy, right? So often people's schedules don't include joyful times. Like we might include joyful times if we're invited to a party, like, oh, I got invited to a party, therefore I'm going to go have a joyful time. Or, oh, my child wants to go do this, or my husband or wife or whatever wants to go do that. That will be my joyful time. But we don't consciously say, I'm going to mark this day off my calendar to go just be in joy, to just do what fills my cup and be in joy. And I cannot tell you how successful you can be in life when you do this. When you take time to unplug from whatever, feels like work and just really be in that frequency of joy. There are so many things I have come up with and created when I'm in the frequency of joy. Like, it's funny because ideas for my career, ideas for my life, ideas of ways to do things differently. And I'm not even really thinking about like work. And yet I'm creating new, right? I'm in the frequency of joy, which brings in more abundance, which brings in more positive ideas, which brings in all kinds of stuff. So we have to create more time by leaving time for ourselves, right? And it seems so counterintuitive. Like, how am I going to plan all this joyful time if I can't get everything else done? Trust me that if you start working joy into your schedule with the importance of any other piece of work that you do, your life will expand, right? And it's so funny how we come up with new ideas about how to do things more efficiently. Like when I came up with the idea that I was going to, record the sessions episodes on YouTube, and it's something I do at the same time, right? I am on camera, I am also recording audio, and I'm doing both of these things simultaneously, and I'm sharing in two different places, right? And with two different mediums, and getting to enjoy it. And also learning how to do all of it at the same time. This is the power of how we create more time in our life, right? We start opening ourselves up to new ideas, and we start doing things in different ways that are more efficient. And then we start creating more and more in our life, right? In a more efficient manner, because we made time for joy, because we showed up to asking ourselves, like, what is our rhythm and how do we want to do life and what seems exciting and joyful and wonderful? You can see that the schedule starts to feel so much better, right? This flow state on the feminine side, this get it done state on the masculine side, dancing together in balance to create the life that you want to create. I'll see you back here next week. You guys, what'd you think? Do we want to create more time in our life beyond the 24 hours? I've been playing with this for years now. I got to tell you, it's been such a game changer in my life. Not only a game changer in efficiency and how I do my schedule, but a game changer in how I feel in my life and how I feel in my day and how I feel in my schedule. And the more you tap into high frequency energy, the faster and more efficient you can execute on things. So the more you start weaving the masculine and feminine, the more you start finding that balance, the more you start having new ideas come in, it becomes this heightened, fun state of creation. So I hope you take it on. I hope you start looking for your own rhythms. I hope you start having fun with how you're creating in your own life and playing with it. It's all about having fun and enjoying it and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work for you. Remember, you're a unique individual. Find your path. That will be the most fulfilling thing that you can do. I'll see you back here next week.